What's up, y'all? It's Jack with JBTCG. Today we're talking about why does Pokemon investing even work? This is going to be a more rant style video. I'm going to go into some specific details on why I think Pokemon investing or just collectible investing in general works and how it's kind of unique from standard stocks or real estate or things like that. So yeah, sit back, relax. This one could be long, could be short. I have no idea how long I'm going to be talking here, so we'll get into it. First order of business, the cyclic nature of people and hobbies. So I don't remember who exactly did this study. It might have been Hasbro looking at Magic the Gathering, but this study generally said that people will go in and out of Magic the Gathering. They go in and out of it 4 times in their life. And the average span of a person being in one of these hobbies in general is it's a year to maybe a year and a half to 2 years. So it's not actually crazy long. And when you think of investing or Pokemon investing, that's not really a long enough time to see great returns. So the average person that's in the Pokemon hobby is not there kind of reaping the rewards, I guess. Now, sure, they could be flippers. They could make, I don't know, $1 bajillion flipping some products or something like that, and they get out after a year. But the general person isn't doing that. But how does this benefit the hobby and how does this benefit our investments? So to explain this, I'll give an example of COVID 2020. The most famous Pokemon collecting and Pokemon box openings pretty much ever got, with Twitch streamers opening vintage boxes. Now you'll notice the age of pretty much everyone that was on Twitch opening these boxes or just buying these boxes in general. Most of them were 20 to 30 on Twitch. I mean, that's kind of the general demographic for the streamers in general. So it's obviously more likely that the Twitch streamers that are opening these things are going to be in that age range. But all of these people grew up with Pokemon, or they were really interested in it at some point in their lives. I think every single one of them got some sort of nostalgic kick from opening these extremely expensive boxes. Now, so what? Who cares if they got some sort of nostalgia from opening the boxes? That makes sense. They grew up in that era. But that's exactly the thing. It makes sense. They grew up with these cards. The people that grow up with the cards of today, that'll go out of the hobby when they're teens or something and it's not cool anymore. And then when they get some money, they're into their 30s or late 20s or whatever, which seems to be the main demographic of people kind of getting back into Pokemon card collecting. Or even if you're a little older with your kids or something like that, people are going to want to buy the sets that were there when they began. Even if it's irrational, even if the sets aren't that good, the cards don't even have to be that great. Like for me, I love the level X era. I know tons of people that hate level X cards or think they look stupid or they're kind of over the top and unnecessary, but I still love them and nothing could change that. I can look at them and be like, yeah, that card's kind of hideous, but it's a level X card. I still love it. My favorite card of all time is this card. It's a Garchomp level X and it's a Black Star promo. This card is not expensive. I think this PSA 8 copy, which the PSA 10, the pop is it's zero basically, because it was stored in those old tins with those old garbage holders that damaged the ends of the cards. They're awful. So the PSA 10 pop is nothing, but a PSA 8 card is $30. And this is what I mean. People don't necessarily love the most expensive card ever or the most beautiful card ever. They loved whatever they collected as a kid or when they first got into a hobby or whenever the last time they were in the hobby is. If people are coming in and out 4 times in their life, that means 4 different times, 4 different life cycles that people will look back and be like, oh, I want that card or I want that set, I want that box, I want that collection that I never fulfilled 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago. I think the coolest box I could buy would be a Supreme Victor's Booster Box. Is that the best set ever released? No. Is it the coolest set ever released? I think so. I think it's one of the coolest, but does everyone think that? No. And do I care that not everyone thinks that? No, not at all. And the thing is, 20 years down the line, that's going to be Lost Origin. That's going to be it's definitely going to be Evolving Skies. It already is Evolving Skies. But that's going to be 151 for some people. Now, if they stayed in the hobby this whole time, they kept their collection, they kept the cards, they kept the boxes that they have, there'll be no need for them to want more or want to go back and buy the cards that they missed or get the boxes that they sold off that they wish they never sold. People leaving the hobby and coming back is what keeps creating more and more demand as time goes on. On top of that, more people coming into the hobby and the Pokemon hobby growing in general also is very important for making Pokemon investing successful. And I think this is kind of like an X factor that normal stocks and stuff like that just don't have. No one's nostalgic. Oh, Apple stock. No one's nostalgic for that. Like, who cares? It's not something you can have. It's not something you really get emotionally attached. Now, some people are going to get emotionally attached to anything. I mean, you've seen some crazy things on the internet, I'm sure. Or like the TLC channel where people are like My Strange Addiction, where they're addicted to like some absurd thing. All right, I'm way off topic, but you know what I'm talking about. Or if you don't, honestly, if you don't, good on you. But on top of this, supply goes down when people open it, and people love opening products. It's yet another thing that makes collectible investing so successful. People just open product and supply goes down. The Pokemon company will just stop printing something after a certain amount of time. Obviously, changes, varies between sets. The amount of supply of each set is different, and demand is different. But the only thing that's constant is they can't create more supply after a certain point in time. Now, hypothetically, could the Pokemon company go back and reprint Supreme Victors? Could they reprint base set? Yes. But why don't they do that? Because it would crash the hobby. There would be no nostalgic demand. There would be no people cycling back in and out in the way that they do, because it would oversaturate the market with these products, and none of them would be special anymore because they could get printed at any point in time. And we know they won't reprint base set because they've already done it in a unique kind of way many times, where they won't actually reprint the exact base set cards. They'll add something different. They'll add like the celebration stamp or something like that, or in XY Evolutions, the cards are slightly changed. So they won't actually reprint the exact cards, but they'll reprint something similar. That way the vintage cards still have the vintage value, the vintage allure, and if you don't have the money to buy those really nice vintage cards, you can still get something cool. So it's kind of an olive branch to people in the hobby that don't have as much money or aren't willing to spend as much money on those old vintage cards, but still want that old vintage artwork, which I think is really cool. It's a great concept and it's a great gimmick. People obviously love it. That's why XY Evolutions is worth $850 a booster box, and why 151 is one of the most popular sets in recent time. It's incredible how nostalgia can really capture a person and just take them back. Like it's such a unique feeling, and people chase it so much, especially in hobbies that are so tied to their childhoods, which Pokemon is, I mean, it's tied to pretty much all of our childhoods. If you're watching this, you probably were interested in Pokemon when you were 8 or 9. And that's one of the most special things about collectibles in general. They capture such a wide range of people. Kids that are 6 years old opening a Twilight Masquerade pack and just freaking out over a Greninja SAR. I mean, I'd be freaking out over Greninja SAR too, but say they're freaking out about a Greninja SAR or a random art rare of an Ogerpon. That is something that I would, like an Ogerpon card, I look at those and I go, that sucks. I hate this. But there is definitely kids out there that see these Ogerpon cards and they're like, oh, no way. I want to get all the other ones. Pokemon has an audience for everything. They have your niche. If you like vintage cards, they have your niche. If you like sealed products, they have your niche. If you like booster box, they have your niche. If you like displays, if you like ETBs, something like this that you can show off, they have your niche. Pokemon is such a goldmine, and that's the reason why they're one of the biggest companies like in the world right now, or at least in the entertainment sector. And that's the other thing. They care about the secondary market. Now, they don't care about you or me, but they care about the secondary market as a whole. They want to keep it strong. That way they can make more money in the future, which obviously they can make a boatload of money right now if they reprinted base set. A ton of people would buy. They'd be like, oh my God, no way I can get base set. They'd probably make the most money that they've ever made in a year. But after that, things would fall off. That would effectively ruin the secondary market because people would have no confidence in Pokemon as a whole. And what are the most watched videos on YouTube? It's boxes that you can't get today. So people are most interested in seeing like PokeRev or something open a box from 15 years ago rather than Twilight Masquerade. And the other thing is, a large part of the Pokemon community isn't interested in stuff that's released today. They're interested in things that were released 5-10 years ago. They're interested in random single cards or ETBs or something like that. And the Pokemon company knows if they crash the market for those things that were 5-10 years old, people would lose interest, because it's that having something special, having something unique, something to show off that not everyone has. Like, there's a reason that I have a Dark Charizard next to me. It's a cool card that not everyone has. Otherwise, it would have no display ability apart from the piece of artwork that it is. The level of rarity or uniqueness is what takes something to another level. This is why people collect obscure things, or say error cards, which is a huge market that isn't really talked about. Error cards are cards that are like printed or double printed, or say they were cut awfully and part of another card is in the card that it's supposed to be. So the printers were just way off in the cutters, not the printers. But people are interested in a lot of niche things that make their cards special, or in their eyes, more special than yours. And that's why Pokemon cares about the secondary market. They care about making you feel special so they can make more money. It's one of those things where the Pokemon company doesn't care about us at all, but our interests are kind of aligned and in this like weird kind of way for different reasons, but in the end, we both want to make money. And that's also why I think Pokemon investing is safe. I don't think it's the most safe investment out there. Obviously, there's definitely more safe investments than investing in cardboard. But because you want the secondary market to stay healthy and stay growing in the future, aligned with the billion-dollar company's goal of keeping their secondary market healthy and keeping demand in the hobby, it makes it somewhat safe. Pokemon investing, it's really interesting how it works and why it works, because obviously, like, there's the supply and demand where supply goes down, and even if demand stays the same, the value is going to go up. But there's so many more layers to it that aren't really talked about by Pokemon investing channels in general. Like, I haven't talked about this, I don't think yet. Maybe I have, probably not. But I really think that the inner workings of the Pokemon market, it's fascinating. But yeah, I'm gonna cut off the rant here. I've been going for a while now. If you made it this far in the video, comment your favorite Pokemon card in the comments. If you're new here, please drop a sub. We're making our way to 1,000 subscribers. I really appreciate every single one of you who's been subscribing to me and watching these videos. As always, thank you for watching. Stay safe out there.